I've got a bunch of shop tips for you that are going to help make your time in the shop more efficient and more fun too, I think. Items like a pipe clamp rack that also doubles as an outfeed table for your table saw, a way that you can get a power cord all the way out to the center of your shop without having it laying on the floor where you might trip over it, ways to get more mileage out of your belt sander, and a bunch of great tips for making clamping to bandsaw tables and drill press tables and table saw tables a lot easier, plus a boatload of other stuff. Lots of great ideas, want to pass them along to you. Let's get started. When it comes to working with pen blanks, like this chunk of maple I have here, one of the first steps you have to do is end bore these and get them all the way through to the other end. One of the problems with that is you may not have a drill press. Two, it can be difficult to make sure that when you bore these blanks, you go right on the axis of this blank all the way down. In other words, the center you hit on this end is where you exit on this side, because even using something like a hand screw clamp like this, as the blanks get smaller and smaller, it can be difficult to hold this perfectly perpendicular to your drill press table. So here's a nice alternative, which is just do all your work right here on the lathe. If you're making pens, you probably already have a lathe. So what we maybe need to add to your equipment list is a chuck like this one. The way this is going to work is that I'm going to put my blank in the chuck and tighten this down. This chuck can do a lot of different stuff for me. I can use it for making bowls, I can use it for spindle work, and obviously I can use it for drilling pen blanks. If you look at suppliers of pen materials, you'll find that some sell chucks specifically for drilling blanks like this. The difference is that the jaws are a little bit longer and they're going to let you hold smaller pieces. One of the things we want to do before we start drilling is make sure that that blank is in here on a good axis. In other words, why drill a hole if we're not going to gain anything here? So what I'm going to do is get my tool rest in here, and I'm going to turn this by hand, and visually as I look down at this, I'm watching the blank compared to the position of the tool rest, and what I can see is that it's quite close here and quite far there. So it's not quite straight in the chuck. Now that I've got that in there nice and straight, we're ready to drill a hole. This is the really easy part. What we need here is a drill chuck that works in the tailstock of your lathe. So this drill chuck's mounted on, in my case, a number 2 Morse taper that's seated into here just like a live center would be. That's going to let me hold a drill bit and advance this all the way through my turning blank. The travel on the tailstock on your machine, like on mine, might not be enough to do it in one stroke, so get as deep as you can. That gives us a hole that no matter what has to be right through the center axis of a blank. So this, doing all your drilling right here on the lathe, provides a really good way to make sure that the hole you're drilling is lined up with the blank you're using.